Okay, this third part of this video, it gets into Ayn Rand and the concept of love and who deserves love, and um, I, there are so many. Like, I can see myself playing the same game she's playing, and so I thought I'd touch on this concept of love and why is it that none of us are attracting those loving relationships. It also went into she ended up having an affair with some guy that was married. There's a moral thing. And did a lot of rationalizing as to why that's good. But then the wife of the husband that got divorced to marry Rand, in this interview, she was saying, Anne Rand, I look at where she's coming from, and I can see she never had love in her life. And I thought for a minute, if she can, have, you know, amazing love, would I give it to her? And she said yes, which is basically, there's the people pleaser mindset, is you would give up your self-value so somebody else will have it. It's a typical people pleaser mentality, which is definitely what I got, is I will make sure everybody else feels love, without that demand that, hey, you need to show me that same respect and that same love back. And what I've come to discover, um, and like this is for me, but I think everybody is dealing with the same issue, is for me, I am looking for that equal partner that is on the same mind frame as what I am, so they can kind of relate to where I'm coming from. If you can't relate to me, then forget it. And what ends up making me feel like I'm in a loving relationship is when somebody is able to show me love in the way I feel loved, and how I'm able to give love to somebody else in the way they need love. I'm also seeing that right now the reasons that we get into relationship is due to a lack of love, and the only way you get that fullness of love is thinking, oh, I'll marry somebody and then I'll feel love. And you're marrying for the wrong reasons. You're forming partnerships for the wrong reasons. If you can't love self and you think you need to be with a partner that will give you the love that you can't love, like, then you'll be questioning, why does that person love me? There's nothing to love about me, so that guy must be lying. I can't be trusting that guy because I know damn well there's nothing loving about me, yet this person is constantly saying they love me. It's a perpetual battle when two parties are lacking love, thinking that they will get into a relationship and find love somewhere. It won't happen. And then we make the mistake of, okay, I'm lacking love, so I'm going to have a kid, so then a kid will love me. It's like there's the best birth control. I guess a lot of people don't recognize that kids generally hate their parents. So if you want to feel what it feels like to be hated, have a kid, because they'll grow up to hate you. And it is even just that teenage stage. While they want to get into their independence, there is that breakaway moment that they're not there to strictly love you. And I've also noticed that when you love them and you're showing what it's like to constantly make sure somebody else is loved, you're not showing how to demand that love back. I kind of failed in that respect to teach people how to show love back. And that's where that perpetual game of abuse gets played out. So, in order to end that game, you have to love yourself. And don't ever get in partnership with anybody that doesn't love themselves, because I ain't going to make you love yourself. You got to find out what's lovable about you, because I can't convince you you're lovable. You'll just have to figure that one out for yourself. And how I definitely measure whether somebody is loving themselves is based on their lifestyle and how they look after themselves, their health issues, their level of wealth. If you have way too much money, then I know you don't love yourself. You need a lot of stuff to experience love in your life. What would you be like if you were totally broke? Would you still love your life then? Would you still love yourself? Would you still have confidence? Somehow I don't see that in people that have a lot of money. Then I'm looking at people that are in poverty. Do they really love their lives? Do they have value for themselves if they're on such the low end of the spectrum? So for me, I'm finding it quite challenging because I am in that low spectrum. And I know that I am not loving myself enough. I am not believing in myself enough. It shows in me smoking. I see that I am not loving myself enough to care about my own body to quit the freaking smoking. It's a work in progress. I'm getting there. But I really truly believe most of my issues, I haven't overcome them yet because I think the process of me overcoming it, if it works for me, it works for everybody else. And part of the process of me loving myself is believing in myself and putting it out there and standing strong in what it is that I believe in. So just doing this YouTube channel, believe it or not, has really helped see how to love myself more, how to believe in myself more. If I say something that I can't relate with anybody, it's like I'm living in a world of insanity where nobody can relate to me. I don't even want to leave the house. That is not healthy. But you got to take baby steps. What one thing I can do to improve my personal value, my love of myself? So I am still in process. I am still trying to develop that career to get me off of that. Don't really want to go on the high end of it because then that'll put me in there. It's like I'm looking for that middle ground. When I am loving my life and I'm loving me, you know what? Instantly, that perfect partner will show up. Until then, I won't even recognize them because there's no love within myself. So that's a little bit on Ayn Rand's insanity dealing with love. Thinking that, if you're not hard enough, you're not smart enough, you don't deserve love. I think every single one of us deserve love. And I truly, this is my way of showing a globe my love for them is sharing my information as free as possible. Seeing my own truth with all its insanity. To sort of show that we're all in the same boat, that you may feel like you're unlovable, you may feel like you don't have value, the same as me, but we're going to change all that. We're going to learn how to love ourselves and learn how to take care of our own selves and have our morals. And it's not about doing what I say is the right thing. It's about learning how to listen to yourself, how to find your full potential, how to tap into your intuition and access that full potential. That is not one of the biggest secrets, and the biggest thing that is being suppressed right now is your intuition and how to use intuition. Intuition is a real thing. It is another sense. It is that sixth sense that is being suppressed, that nobody wants you to use your intuition, because if you use your intuition, you say, hey, if I do that job, that'll probably hurt me. So if you listen to your intuition, you won't work for these CEO psychopaths. So they don't exactly want you to listen to your intuition. And at the same time, these corporate CEO psychopaths have an intuition that's telling them that they're right when clearly they're a little wrong. So there is a science to learning how to use intuition, how to access good information. And just because we aren't there yet doesn't mean we're not loving people. Every single person on this planet, God makes no mistakes. Every single one of us are loving beings. Every single one of us has a full potential. And you gotta love that about yourself, because once you sort of open that door, then you'll find out why you're lovable. If you can't figure out why you're lovable, that's all you gotta do is figure it out. Because there is something lovable. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be in existence on the planet. Even the evil guys have something lovable about them that they just don't know about yet. Then moving on into this video, if I can remember what else was involved in it, had a lot to do with Bill Clinton again, Monica Lewinsky and their little love affair. And then they were getting involved in China. That was one thing I wanted to touch on. That the global markets, like to remind everybody that 20 years ago, I had a national campaign saying that we need to change our ways or everything's going to collapse. That went national for 3 months solid. It was a very, very, got a lot of attention. I was on every media, full color, front page pictures um, of the campaign that I was running at the time. So this was very much, I could see it coming. And so this video does show how the global markets are manipulating the economic systems within other countries. We're not really quite seeing that, but all of your wars, especially the wars that the U.S. gets involved in, is all designed for a corporate structure to dominate another country's economic system, and they take over it. They basically go in and steal your economic system and make you into a slave. This particular video discusses how they basically did that with China. China was definitely going under, and the global markets were bailing them out under the condition that they, westernize themselves and get part of the plan with this economic system. Basically, we want to use you for your slave labor, and you better suck it up and do everything wrong. But they put this condition that the government has to control its corruption, and they refused. And the logic that I can see behind that is because the states, everybody that was running the economic systems, were very corrupt, but they didn't want to admit it. That's their objectivism, is that they don't see how they are the criminals. I mean, they basically write the laws that says this is the moral law that we're going to follow, which is nothing but, if you go by God's law, it's nothing but corruption. So if you think, a law is the right thing to do, no, the law is a way that the criminal wants you to follow this law, and they never ever obey those laws. They just want you to believe this is how I want you to act, and as long as I can get everybody to act that way, and I don't, then I can take advantage of them. So basically, China kind of seen that, no, I am not going to watch the corruption, because the corruption is the only thing that's keeping us playing an evil game. And because it would be a win-win if, the countries that were telling China to get rid of their corruption, it's like, okay, well, I'll get rid of my corruption if you get rid of your corruption. And that wasn't the game they wanted to play. They just wanted one country getting rid of corruption and making everybody follow a law so that they could be easily taken over. So that kind of caused a little bit of problem. So then I find it ironic that I did see an interview with Donald Trump, when he wanted to run for president, and he's real pissed off with China and they're not playing the game fair. No, they're playing the game very fair. It is a corrupt game, no question about it. Donald Trump is definitely corrupt. That's why he's got so many lawyers to protect him, so he can get away with as many crimes as possible. Look at O.J. Simpson and his dream team. Donald Trump has his own dream team, so he can get away with every little bit of corruption and have the world think he is doing everything legal. So basically, China, Donald Trump is saying they're not playing a fair game. No, they're playing the same game. They're just better at it than Donald Trump. Losers always win. Losers will always win. And as long as China was the loser, they were motivated to be a lot better. So if the game was a criminal game, they needed to be bigger criminals. So are they criminals? More than likely. Pick a country that isn't acting criminal. They all are. So there's my take on that part. There is another part I will upload after I watch it. Peace out.